The extract from Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre begins with a discussion between Jane, which also narrates the whole extract, and her husband, to be Mr. Rochester. Discussion that the reader tends to treat as an usual man and wife argument until the narrator names a wife who still lives. The extract continues with a big part which is consisted of Mr. Rochester's attempt to convince Jane about the circumstances that might work as excuses, and it ends with Jane's departure and her feelings and regrets about the whole situation. If I am to compare the language with 1984 and Americana, I can easily spot the differences. Mr. Rochester sounds like a mannered and patient gentleman with a very diverse language, which amazes in a very poetical way, keeping his calm despite how tense and critical the whole situation is. Jane does all it takes to remain in the same lines described by Mr. Rochester and answer with a grand finesse, even though negatively. However, Jane's fight with herself and her struggle in order to defy her feelings for Mr. Rochester looks a bit like George Orwell's main character from 1984, Winston, who tries to deny for himself the fact that he's attracted by the thick-haired girl. The extract from George Orwell's 1984 concentrates around Winston's disgust and hatred he has for the party and what it has done to the people in and to the whole era he is living in. The extract is very descriptive. The reader can learn a lot about the ministries, the Big Brother, Goldstein, the law, and the political situation, about how most people lived, what they used to do, and even that Winston was trying to read a diary. Winston is a man who reads and judges everybody, a man having and making an opinion about everyone he knows or meets, and if they are good or bad, and all this brings him very close to Mello from Americana, who actually does that for a living. She writes a blog, and she's very concentrated on races and if people are black and white, and what's she wants to put in a light what were the advantages of not being black in USA, and of course she always writes opinions that she meets, that she gets from people that she meets every day, and she's very quickly in drawing lines and putting people in different categories, if I'm allowed to say so. Thank you.